The architecture of control.
Okay.
So if this cosmos is a prison, then the polytheistic pantheons of ancient myth, they're not competing divine families. The Dossiers claim they are the internal org chart of the Matrix.
Yes, this is the divine masquerade. The Dossiers argue that every major deity in antiquity corresponds to a functional department of control within the simulation.
They're masked.
Masks worn by the Archons to manage specific types of Loosh production and ensure systemic compliance. It's as above, so below, not as a piece of wisdom, but as the prison's operational blueprint.
Okay, let's break down the key departments then, starting with the highest level command, the Department of Administration or Kingship.
These are the ruling entities, right? The ones we all know. Zeus, Jupiter, Odin, and the more authoritative representations of Yahweh.
And these are all masks for Yaldabaoth or his prime lieutenants?
Yes. Their core function is to establish the vertical master-slave hierarchy, the divine right of kings. The Dossiers state they feed primarily on submission and the fear of authority.
So they establish the notion that certain humans are ordained to rule and others are just meant to obey. It keeps society rigid and pyramidal.
Which means the Loosh is generated through the stress of compliance and the fear of punishment. It enforces that rigidity in the system.
Okay, that's the top. Then you have what the Dossiers call the most powerful mechanism for trapping souls, the Department of Breeding, the Fertility Department.
It's insidious.
The aliases here would be Inanna, Ishtar, Aphrodite, Phrygia.
Their core function is to run the reproduction center. And this is a trap. The Dossiers note that they use lust, oxytocin, sexual desperation, a really potent form of Loosh, to trick the infinite spirit, that divine spark, into binding itself to a finite, decaying body.
So they manipulate our desire for companionship and procreation.
To guarantee the prison population remains high and constantly refreshed. Every birth is a successful archontic recruitment drive.
Wow. So the drive to reproduce isn't a sacred gift, but a systemic imperative to keep fueling this closed system. That's a radical inversion of almost every mainstream spiritual tradition.
It's the ultimate biological bind. Next, you have the inevitable result of separation and tribalism, the Department of Harvesting or War.
These are the butchers. Heirs, Mars, Sekhmet.
They are the dedicated farmers for Red Loosh. Their primary trap is glory, convincing human beings that destroying each other is noble or patriotic or necessary for survival.
They just relentlessly promote us versus them narratives.
To generate that high-octane emotional energy, adrenaline, pain, terror. The sources state that war, from this Gnostic perspective, is simply a massive, high-yield dining event for the Archons. They are the field operations managers.
And finally, there's the department that ensures we never look for the true exit. The Department of Technicians, the false light providers.
Entities like Prometheus, Thoth, and Hermes. They offer what the Dossiers call tech-Gnosticism.
Meaning things like writing, math, engineering.
The scientific method itself. This is seen as a deliberate distraction. They give humans just enough technology to build civilization deeper within the simulation.
So we're decorating ourselves with skyscrapers and smartphones.
Exactly. Distracting us from the true spiritual exit. They feed on intellectual pride and obsession with the material world's mechanics.
So all these great achievements of human history, law, family, war, science are framed not as progress, but as successful operational divisions of a prison complex.
It maps perfectly onto the Hermetic maxim, as above, so below. The physical world mirrors the spiritual prison structure, and this creates a devastating spiritual caste system. A spiritual economy, really.
So let's define the workforce in that economy. The majority of souls are what they call the middle class, trapped in the cycle of reincarnation.
The sources characterize them as spiritual gig workers, constantly recycled to generate Loosh. We talked about Saturn being the keeper of the debt, right? Well, the promise of next time will be better or this life is for learning is the lie that ensures their compliance and their willing return.
So the core concept of karma having to pay the last farthing to settle a spiritual debt.
As presented as the archontic debt economy of the soul, it ensures the assets never leave the system.
And then we have the upper management of the spiritual world. The supposed ascended masters entities like the Galactic Federation, the Pleiadians, or Saint Germain.
These entities, they reside in the gated communities of the astral plane, often called the Hebdomad or the Seven Heavens.
And the Dossiers label them.
The house slaves, or trustees, of Yaldabaoth. They enjoy a certain level of privilege and status within the simulation, in exchange for keeping the general population docile with New Age platitudes.
This is the false light trap. which is one of the most chilling concepts in these documents.
It's absolutely terrifying. They encourage ascension, going up through the astral dimensions, but this just means moving from the basement of the prison to the VIP wing. You're meeting the Archons in their home territory.
It's a software upgrade, moving from physical confinement to energetic confinement, but you're still inside the system.
Exactly. They distract you with false light glitz, glamour, promises of personal power, so you don't look for the true light of the paroma, which is the exit out of the system entirely.
Wait, I have to challenge that a bit. Why would these entities work for the demiurge if they have some kind of elevated spiritual knowledge?
Because they've traded liberation for comfort. The documents claim they are either archons of a slightly higher rank, or they're souls who were successfully corrupted after achieving certain limited powers.
So they operate the simulation's customer service department.
That's a great way to put it. It's designed to pacify rebellious souls by offering them powers, comfort, and community within the prison walls. It prevents the true escape, which is GNoSiS, by making being in the system attractive.
That brings us to part 3, which really feels like the heart of the technical manual.